that we don't want to be controlled. We want to be controlled by the corporations and the food, And not only that, the government, the FDA, the Food Administration, most of the people on there are from the corporations. So we don't have a chance. But we have a chance in life with all our problems and all our things is to get centered and get our higher consciousness. 9 out of 12 steps talks about a higher power, higher consciousness. And then step 12 is having had that spiritual awakening. So again, like towards the food. Look, it does take a while. Look, we don't have to be naive here, but it takes a while to change your palate. So when you start eating healthy food, look, you know what tastes great to me? You won't believe this. Broccoli, right? Brussels sprouts, all of these things. I just have a plain, I'll tell you exactly. I won't have it any other way. Even you go to a place called Whole Foods, and what do they have there? In their salad bar, supposed to be healthy, but they have all the salt, oil, and sugar, it's called. They're in the supermarket, 85% of things, well, I'm covering a lot of things here, but I'll tell you this, so because we're going to be listening to the share soon, but 85% of the things in the supermarket, or 90%, I can't eat. It's all processed food. So this regular, like I said, it's not so much the diet, it's what we put on the food. You get that? It's what we put on. It's not when you drink something, here is 0 calories and God's gift to us. But when we drink, no, we drink 1,200 calories for no reason at all, except we got addicted. It's like being addicted to heroin or cocaine or it's an addiction. Sugar, dopamine in the brain. So, but we, through the spiritual awakening, we have that perception change I read about. It's all in the perception. Again, so when your perception changes this week and you come back or in the next meeting you say that you drank this at times and just started to enjoy it, then we're getting somewhere. That's the spiritual awakening, It's so anyway, it says in here it's roomy and broad, all-inclusive, this way to a higher power. Let me tell you, people come to me and they say, what's a spiritual awakening? If you have one positive thought towards eating your food in a healthy manner, having healthy food, or again with the water, and start to brainwash yourself with that. Why? You're a slave to the corporations. You're more enslaved than... Do you realize our lives is always more enslaved? There's people in solitary confinement who are much freer than most of us here are. We walk through life being enslaved. The food is an important thing, whatever compulsion we have towards the food. So here we have clarity, and it's just a way of thinking, a change of perception. So trying to control people, trying to control a diet, and a diet just doesn't work. 95% of it fails. 95% of my life, or 99% when I tried to tell people at work how to act, or my spouse, or my family, or the clerk in the store, when I had expectations that I had to control, it talks about here about being the director of the play. So we want to be the director of the play with food. We want to control it. You get that God conscience, get centered, pray and meditate. God will give you the inspiration. He'll make you feel when you're full. He'll let you understand what's healthy and what's poison. I'm telling you, 50 ingredients in every food you pick up in the supermarket, 49 of them are poison. Just read it. And 49 of those make it 3 or 4 times the amount of calories, with oil, salt, oil, and sugar. I used that example before about these people who are experts talking about different things in life, ailments, psychological ailments, Look, in our life, when we get depressed, upset, this is a normal reaction, or we get anxious about, maybe being on high places, or anxiety or fear. These are normal people have these reactions. We take it to the extreme. But this is the way with the food addiction. It's directly related to our hunger. It comes from the ego. It says, it's we're going to die without this. So the same with our other issues and problems in life. I'm just bringing that up in that, somebody could walk around feeling like they're getting anxious, and it's really the anxiety that's giving them the problem. It's the fear of the anxiety. It's the fear of, some people say they can't concentrate, the fear of that. You could go wrong life being anxious, being fearful, and when we accept it, just like I was talking about with the food, when we have this acceptance and God consciousness, we can accept these emotions, and hunger is one of them. This is what I'm trying to say. The hunger is just an emotion. It's a bunch of chemicals in your brain. We're not going to die without eating that food, obviously, but the point is that the ego, the self-centeredness is the problem. The same with, again, all these other things we experience in life, resentment, anger, fear, the 7 deadly sins, jealousy, envy. They're all related to the self and our thinking that unless in life I do better than other people, that's where jealousy and envy come from, I can be a success. I read in 10-step promises that we stop fighting anyone or anything. Spiritual bread, I don't know if they have that in your supermarket, but you can find it here. Look, this is what I want to do now. When you go to, you see these revival meetings and people accept a higher power in their life. If you go to pay, this is it. Because with some of you, it's going to be like you read it for the first time. This is called the 3rd step prayer. And every time I read, it's like for the first time, because my ego tells me I go and try to take control of life. But here's on page 63, if you have your big book there. Near the middle of the first paragraph, it tells us, this is what happens. As we felt new power flow in, as we enjoyed peace of mind, as we discovered we could face life successfully, we became conscious of His presence. We began to lose fear of today, tomorrow, the hereafter. We were reborn. How many times have you heard that thing? Now here it says of His presence, but in this book, they talk about it could be spirit of the universe, it could be the great outdoor, whatever it is, that someone who created me or whatever, they have Eastern, Western philosophies, but so long as it's not me. When we get out of the self, the whole thing with the spiritual awakening is getting out of the self. So the first step, this is the third step prayer. But, listen to this through the heart, not through your brain. You know how many years I heard the third step prayer and I heard all this stuff? I tried to analyze. I had shelves full of self-help books. I asked 100 people what I should do about my problems. But the first phrase alone, a sentence says, God, I offer myself to Thee, to build with me and do with me as Thou wilt. With this philosophy in life, we could have all these things going around. We could even, and then all these things become insignificant, our depression, our anxiety, because it's not about us anymore. When we realize, but you see, we don't have to fake it. This is the truth in life. The truth will set you free. The truth in life is that all these little plans and your crazy thinking isn't true. Your vision of the food has been, it's not true. Years ago, people were 30, 40 pounds lighter in this country. It's not true, your obsessions. It's what the corporations for money put in the foods. It's the addiction. So those thoughts come to us, but they're not true. We don't need that food to live. If we have 1/10 of the food, we'll be fine. Get nourishment from the great outdoors, sunlight, or your breath, and get centered already. Don't get into, being upset or trying to control it. Get centered, and then you'll intuitively know how to handle all these problems in your life. The food will be one of them. You'll be sitting there, and you'll be looking, and you'll just say to yourself, do I want, again, a drink with craziness in it and killing me with those calories, or do I want some clear water? Try this week. Have that spiritual awakening towards the water. Relieve me of bonds of self. This whole addiction is the ego saying, I know how to be happy, I'll have more food. I know what I need in life. But the reason when we do these steps is we don't want to be finite. We want to be infinite. You come home, you close the shades, or you're in your car eating the food. I wasn't even enjoying beautiful nature and things around me or the people. You go to a fancy affair and you're worried about the food. The food is your higher power, is your God. How miserable is that? Because the rest of the day, if you're eating a certain amount of minutes during the day, the rest of the day you're miserable thinking about your obsession. It could be food is one of them. Alcohol, drugs, people. Wanting to be successful. That's the imprisonment it talks about in this book. I went to a meeting, and the guy up there, he was leading the meeting. He said, look, you could walk out of this prison right now. You can walk out of that obsession you have with food right now. All you have to do, all I'm saying is to understand this one concept I brought up with the water. If you understand this, and during the week you say to yourself, I want something nice, clear, and refreshing, not all these things, sugar creating crazy. It's like taking a drug. Would you sit there and keep on drinking? When I used to drink all the time, the brain, it was like being in prison. I was the alcohol was my master. The food is your master. Or people are your master. It talks about in the 10-step promise, we have not even sworn off in a position of neutrality. Then we surrender, just let go, and it's called humility. Through a higher consciousness, humility, which was in there all the time, but we made a decision. God gave us intellect. We decided to use it to worry about everything. Yeah, if a person puts a gun to your head, you should be fearful. Otherwise, 99% of things. You know what they say, worrying works because 95% of things I ever think about never happen.